I'm here to watch episode 8 of Lord of Mysteries, or Lord of the Mysteries. Different people say it differently. I know it's Lord of the Mysteries for the novel readers, but the show is called Lord of Mysteries and that's how I'm used to it. And it's kind of easier and faster to say, so I think I'm gonna stick to it. But regardless, there's a lot to discuss after the latest episode. Episode 7 was full of important information and I had time to ponder it and to digest it, pun intended. Now I'm gonna discuss it. First, I want to point out that there was a horrible mistranslation that I was informed of. It was regarding the Evernight goddess and how she destroyed 3 selected families instead of the whole epoch. Which makes sense, and I was even confused by that statement as I was watching and reading those subtitles, because to destroy a big period of history, you need to commit something like a mass genocide or something like that, and destruction of 3 families just doesn't cut it. So it makes sense that that's all it was. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to find that out, and Mr. Hanged Man shared a lot of valuable information. I wonder how he even knows all of that exactly. Again, I'm curious why he picked Hanged Man for himself to be like referred to as such. He knows all the connotations and still he picked that for himself. It's a bit suspicious. I might just be paranoid here, but I don't know. I've been wondering if he's somehow connected to Aurora Order. I don't know. I doubt it, but who knows. What I also found interesting is that the tarot cards are a clear proof that Emperor Razel transmigrated back to his original world. I never felt confident about it because I thought that Klein recognizing things in that world that Razel had created meant that Razel borrowed them from his original world and brought them in, let's call it Beyonder world. But cards being based on the actual entities, actual gods of the Beyonder world implies that he came back to his original world, and then while inspired by his adventures and the information he gathered, and he created the tarot cards there. What I'm getting at here is that it's irrefutable confirmation that Razel succeeded going back, and I think it makes his diaries more valuable than I even thought, and it also kind of puts his diaries perhaps above any other way that Klein has been trying to go back, like using Grey Fog or advancing up the pathway, because Razel wasn't even a seer. He did mention that he wished that he picked seer or marauder, I think. So maybe the implication is that if he did, he would have been able to come back earlier or faster or easier. Or perhaps it's not related to that, I don't know. But Klein is still on the right track, I think, because he's gathering the pages anyway. On the topic of diaries and notebooks, I wonder what's inside the Antigonus notebook. I really want Klein to read it or perform a divination on it, but I also realized that it would probably be very dangerous and possibly lethal. It's probably exactly what led original Klein and his friends to commit suicide, just delving into that forbidden knowledge and sticking their noses where they're not supposed to be. This Klein, this possessed Klein, has been doing a lot of that, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did something like that. Also, after the last episode, I see Hornassus and Phleglea visions that Klein keeps having in an entirely different way. I think for some reason I never really thought of them as a threat to him. If anything, I even contemplated if it's related to some powerful people or gods that were connected to either the Antigonus notebook or his seer power, and I guess in a way they were, but in a sinister, hostile way. I don't know about Phleglea, but Hornassus is connected to Evernight goddess, and through the nation of Evernight, she destroyed the Antigonus family potentially because of the seer power that they possessed. Maybe she was afraid of that power, but why would she be exactly if she was so powerful herself? Was it a threat to her personally, or was it the kind of threat that everyone should be afraid of, not just her? Something that can destroy the world? And what about the Zaratul family? Roselle mentioned a seer from it. Could that family have been related to Antigonus somehow? Obviously not all seers are related to each other. I'm trying to find similarities between things, and two important family names are being related to seer powers makes me think that there is a deeper connection, but there might not be, of course. And what about that relic? I don't think that it's something that has already been shown, unless it's the mystery feather. Maybe it's like an astral representation of a real object. Maybe it's meant to be like a quill, and you can draw or write things that materialize. Okay, I'm definitely reaching here. But speaking of writing things, Klein wrote in his diary that everyone will die, including him, and I kinda always assumed he meant himself and his friends. And now, with all the talks of the doomsday, I'm wondering if he literally meant everyone, which would imply that he knew about the apocalypse. Did the Antigonus notebook reveal it to him? Was it something that was written inside it? I don't know. Also, I rewatched episode 1, and the very first scene from it is literally the flash forward to the doomsday, and it showed a pregnant woman giving birth to some sort of monster that Klein was fighting, and it looked like he might have died to it because there was a massive explosion. I don't know, that worries me a lot, but it's just funny to me and also fascinating how literally the first episode, first scene revealed so much straight away, but because there was no context and everyone was in the dark, it just didn't really make sense. It didn't really seem that important, or of course it seemed important, but it kind of didn't even linger much in my head. I just glossed over it, and now I realize how many important things were just right there for me to see. It was definitely the pregnant woman from the last episode, and she had some dark entity put in her baby, and that's why the baby makes weird noises. She's not crazy. Also, her husband, that like the picture and his name were in the newspaper, and they discussed him in the divination club. He was one of the people who performed the ritual, so it's definitely her. And she was wearing the medallion that serious guy had, the hanged man one. So did the Aurora Order put the true creator into her baby? The thing that Klein fights on Doomsday doesn't really look like him, but maybe it's like the initial form that still needs to go through evolution, or several evolutions, or maybe it's something else, but it's a step towards eventually bringing back the true creator. I wonder why they used Mr. Isaac's son's skull. I feel like it has to be important and related to his Beyonder powers somehow. I refuse to believe that it's a random coincidence. There are no coincidences in the show. Also, I still can't decide if that place from last episode with the factory is from the world Klein transmigrated from, his original world, or if it's just part of this Beyonder world. I keep flip-flopping between those two. My first instinct was that it's from his original world, because it looked way too modern and out of place to me. But then Klein said something about how the enemy is in there, and I assumed that whoever is the enemy has to be where he is now. And maybe a factory isn't that strange in a steampunk world. Also, I'm pretty sure there's literally a god of machinery, so maybe it's somehow connected to that. But then Klein also mentioned interference from his original world, I'm pretty sure, unless I misunderstood. So maybe it is a place there after all. Maybe it's like a mix of both. Maybe that place is in the world that Klein transmigrated from, but it also has a connection to the original world, maybe through another transmigrator. Maybe whoever is pulling the strings behind the scenes and has a malicious intent is a transmigrator too. I don't know. I only know that my mind is reeling. But also, lastly, I want to discuss the post-credit scene. It was Klein remembering what was on that piece of paper that the doll was showing through the gate. secrets. I actually really wondered about that. I'm still wondering why he was the only one who even noticed it in the first place. I'm trying to remember how it happened exactly. Did he see the paper and then by the time everyone else arrived to the scene it was already gone? Could have been that. But yeah, some mysterious powers temporarily removed his memories so he wouldn't share about it with anyone else, and then he recovered them, and apparently there was a weird symbol on that piece of paper, and he described it as a like scary pupil or something like that. It stuck with me. He said pupil, and then I remembered that when he was looking at his own symbol of seer pathway inside that tarot club, he described it as a pupilless eye, I'm pretty sure, and he said that some parts of it were missing. So I'm wondering if that could be either the complete symbol of it or a part of it or the missing part of his symbol, and I'm just wondering if that scary pupil is part of the seer pathway symbol, and the doll was hinting at the seer pathway and something related to that, to Antigone's family and whatever big secrets lurking in there. I don't know. It could have also been related to True Creator, because True Creator is shown with like big red eye, so pupil can be related to that. But then also whenever Klein was having those Hornassus and Flaglea visions, he also had this like one single red eye, which again could be related to True Creator and also to that symbol. I don't know. I'm going crazy, honestly, with this. I'm just trying to figure it all out, and it feels like at the same time I'm getting somewhere and also I'm getting nowhere. I feel like I'm trying to untangle things, and as soon as I feel like the rope is giving way, I end up tangling it even more and also tangling myself within it. It's a mess, but I'm enjoying this mess a lot. But yeah, this intro has been really long already. I need to get on and watch the episode. Can't wait. I'm really excited. Almost forgot. Before I watch this, as always, full reaction to this, as well as earlier reactions to the whole show, are available on my Patreon Ko-Fi pages, links in description. So if you don't want to wait or want a full experience or to support me, check this out. But for now, let's go. I'm ready. My brain is working on overdrive. My hand already fell asleep through my discussion before the episode. Okay, but let's go. Come on. Speed this up. Can't wait. Have to be patient. Already stunningly beautiful. Oh my god. Okay, are we going back to Mr. Isaac? I love this point of view of animals and fish shots. Damn. Can't wait to find out more. Mr. Isaac? Yay! I like him. He also looks exhausted. So pot cattle. It's nice to see them just hanging out. Is he gonna include Mr. Isaac? Bring him to the table? No. Unfortunate. Me too. How does he know so much?
代价？你指的是什么
？1000磅，不能连号的旧钞。我去
Oh my god.
套田根独栋豪宅就换个冰山一角。
Well, she can afford it.
可能一下子拿出那么多的。
Yeah, and I guess it's her father that can afford it. Oh, damn.
还是送到之前那个地址吗？
I guess she has some control over the assets herself.
没错，还是同样的地址，同样的。我去，这么好，1000磅说给就给啊！
He should ask her for money himself.
要维持住愚者先生的体面。球会，他们掌握叫做窥密人，老尼尔的血泪图景。这个组织的成员信仰知识本，隐匿的贤者。早期的摩斯苦修会非常受人尊敬，但如今已堕。
I wonder why.
崇拜知识并不邪恶呀。
但如果知识本身活了，传言隐匿贤者活了，他变成了人格。本纪元初期才诞生的组织有玫瑰学派和崇尚死神的灵教团等。而极光会、要素黎明、心理炼金会等，则是近200-300年才出现。
So many things for me to write down.
报道人先生，愚者先生，我没有其他的疑问了。
好，
No way she remembered all that.
遵从你的意志。
Oh, I also like how she had to pay a lot for that, but Clyde just received that valuable information for free. Uh-oh. What if something happened to him?
小心！丽莎，你们怎么回来的这么早？
克莱恩，那是
Oh my god.
其实，我现在也兼职了警察部门的历史顾问，枪是配发物品。吃饭了。
A standard issue for that kind of job?
很高兴的样子。
黑夜女神信徒，应该是阿斯克先生动手了。
That's good.
来了还想走啊？
I like old Neil. There's so many likable characters in this.
任务你做得完，要懂得忙里偷闲。喂，莱特，2杯奶。死老头，就知道坑我酒钱。
尼尔先生，你们好。
哟，克莱恩，他再加一杯，还是
知道，他买的。
爽。一会儿呛死我可不救你啊！
Oh my god.
你是为码头那事儿来的吧？
是啊，鬼还挑戏呀，只针对黑夜女神信徒。码头又是代法者辖区，现在传什么的都。代法者和职业者，可不能因为谣言产生了嫌隙，让严格对待。从形态上看很古老，像是第4纪的亡灵。
接下来该我上场了。来，我敬2位。
What is their plan exactly?
话说回来，你叫克莱恩是吧？下次得加倍还我。走了。
福尔安先生真是个豪爽的。
你个酒鬼吧！
你和他们一起去处理一下。
我
I thought he was retired.
突发事件灵体诡异，我想占卜应该能帮上忙。
对嘛？啥？哎呦，我这老腰啊，是真不行喽。
最近出了新规，我不提。
我觉得克莱恩的话还是有道理的，我会帮助他。
有什么好办法可以快速驱除呢？
这方面是。
哦，变异的太阳兽。
Oh, okay.
我们1分钟。
That was the plan. Jesus. I should have realized.
码头人员密集，使用风险太大。如果
That's a pretty straightforward and simple plan, perfect for Mr. Isaac.
是有些棘手。这得预防最坏的情况。那些诡异的亡灵里，万一有个强力的怨魂，再加上那里又是带控制事态，到时候还要回来找你搬救兵，这实业者的名声恐怕不。
Oh my god. He's such a both a horrible and an amazing actor at the same time.
明白，队长。
Oh my god.
你想方设法和我一起出任务是故意，但我劝你最好放弃不实际的幻想，即使是在任务里，你也不可能。
He is a narcissist. He makes it all by himself.
不要这么自恋好不好？
那种漂亮男人，我只在议员老爷和贵妇们怀里看到过。中间那俩毛都没长全呢。哎，这不老尼尔吗？听说有点东西啊。
Damn.
去跑，自己都变成鬼了。
Wow.
瞎说什么呢？已经犯了。
为了这次驱魔，我们专门备了大蒜。
哎，我看报纸介绍过，这些都是驱魔仪式必备。
Oh my god.
职业者长官秒变神棍骗子。
罗塞尔大帝说过，行事
Valuable advice.
事不宜迟，我们开始了。
Can't believe that they're literally on a mission staged by Klein. I hope they're not in any real danger. I imagine Mr. Isaac is controlling those spirits. Such a farce. Oh my god.
别信了全套，不要暴露。大家当心！
He's already acting like a clown, and he's not even officially a clown.
接下来，我们的驱魔师将正式开启仪式。为什么是我？新人福利。
Not sure delay delay. God Not sure delay to learn.
Oh my god. Both of them clowns. Bozos.
Sadia Shamuzi. Hasmalika Duda Piazon. 我祈求您的力量，净化邪灵。真是神奇啊！不愧是专业的驱魔师。
How is he planning to get a hold of the emblem though? Wait, is it the pregnant lady?
没事吧，女士？
富尔安先生，
It is her.
他刚刚踢我了，
Oh my god.
谢谢您，先生。
Is he involved?
主降服于你。
他的 精神状态看起来好多了，家里人已经接受这个孩子了。
福尔安，你不是有紧急任务吗？怎么在这儿闲逛啊？
Is he following her? Is he part of the order?
我负责跟着这可怜的姑娘，
Um.
看能不能找到她未婚夫。
Oh, okay, okay.
不是，那个1万多磅的炸
Her husband, who was part of the
让
ritual.
排查死。
少喝点儿，当心喝死了。
死于酗酒，那可再好不过了。
Damn.
走了啊。
您和富尔安先生关系很好吧？
时间长了，
But that guy doesn't seem that
我
old.
们一帮人空了就去我家喝。李斯特在旁为大家弹琴伴奏。
沙里斯特，
Oh.
沙里斯特走了有好些年
哦
了，那帮老家伙和我们不用这
It's
种
sad.
与归宿，对我们这些人来说，只要不失控而死，就是胜。好了，
Is he gonna stumble over something? Discover something he's not supposed to?
全部清除完了。这么难清除的灵，被附近的人居然没有受到什么伤害，我还是头一次遇到这种情况。
你占卜一下事件的起因。
I feel like if Leonard wasn't so obsessed with himself, he might have actually suspected Klein here, because he's pretty perceptive.
也是，阿兹克先生位格那么高，除非他放水，否则。你看到的应该是南大陆的倒金字塔。只有所谓的死神后裔，才能为自己修建这样的灵器。
死神，先生，在北大陆掀起苍白之灾的邪恶存在。
死神的信徒，这有什么图谋？阿兹克先生是在一片石堆中苏醒的，难道就是？如果阿兹克先生真是死神后裔，那幕后黑手取走阿兹克先生孩子的头骨，就可。
Yeah.
接下来老规矩，一人带着30782镇守，其他人休息恢复。
That's how he's gonna get a hold of the emblem. Yeah. Just like the last time, makes sense. Also, it also makes sense why Aurora Order used Mr. Isaac's son's skull, because he's a descendant of death.
直接收黄金，必须一次就成功。我向你祈求。赐予我完成扬言符咒的力量。
Oh my god. Why would it agree? Just a prayer is enough to be granted this much power? Or maybe it matters who is praying? He's special in some way? Maybe Grey Fog is helping him? I don't know. Come on, yeah, get suspicious. I don't know why, but I want him to figure out what Klein is doing. Oh no! Oh my god. Jesus. What is happening? What on earth? My God. Leonard to the rescue.
当心，他失控前至少序列8，你先在30782离开。
格里，走。
God.
这边，尽快疏散人群，安全警戒范围50米以上。收到。指令，里面不要靠近。
What? Old Neil still got it. God. Leonard is pretty powerful for sequence 8. Yes. Nice assist from Klein. Or not. Oh my God. That was really unlucky. No! Don't you dare kill old Neil. Was there a recognition between them? Oh my God. Wait, is that the guy that was following the pregnant woman, the friend of old Neil? Harv or something? Did he come across something he was not supposed to, or just him following her, like, alerted Aurora Order and they made him go crazy? Oh my God. Oh, that was lucky. Night Slumber is so OP. Such a versatile and useful charm. Oh my God, it was him, it is him. Don't kill him. Okay. They just incapacitated him. Is there a way to turn him back? Oh my God. Oh no. He was old Neil's last friend. Last connection to his wife. Oh.
尼尔先生，你的手。
Even in a world with godly powers, there is no way to turn him back. It's just horrible. That sounds like Moonlight Sonata. This is definitely Moonlight Sonata. Or like a slightly changed rendition of it. Yeah. I love Moonlight Sonata. It's my favorite classical melody.
老娘平时看，却这么死气沉沉，没有生气。
He's clearly suffering and bottling it up.
妻子好好的，为什么会突然失控呢？
Because he stuck his nose where he was not supposed to. Wait, what was up with that bracelet?
这么短的时间，到底是什么原因导致的失控？
Remember what he was doing, who he was following.
那非凡失
Or
控
did he not hear that part?
比我想象的还要可怕的。两枚阳炎符咒，有神仙力量加持，无论是比，应该都有一战之力。但这保命的底牌，没法应对非凡。队长说过，大多数职业者都死于失控。那我还有队长，不是也逃不过这种宿命？怕什么？好到手，凡事总有办法解决。
I wonder how the Nighthawks are gonna react when he uses one of those sun-powered charms.
就能降低失控风
How
险。
is he gonna explain that?
也许透露给队长他们。 是时候。
Yes! Oh my god, I can't wait. The music in the end was strangely epic, like it was making me anticipate it so much more. Well, that was a great episode. Again, there was a lot of information, especially with different orders, organizations and such, and I'm definitely gonna be recording all of that in my chart. There was also more information on Old Neil, just personal stuff about his wife and his friends, and I love finding more about the characters in just like their personal lives, nothing really plot related necessarily, but I do wonder if there was something plot related there, like in that photograph that Klein was examining, or was it just him looking for clues and not finding any. Hopefully he will talk to Old Neil and maybe they can share what they know. Maybe Old Neil is gonna tell him that that guy was following the pregnant lady. The thing is, to Old Neil it wouldn't seem like something of importance because it's just some guy owes money and he supposedly ran away on his wife. Nobody thinks that there's anything extra to that, nothing special to it, unfortunately. But Klein finally started connecting things around himself and realized that there are no coincidences, so maybe he will put two and two together. If he knows about that guy being involved in that pregnant lady situation, him following her, maybe he will also remember that she mentioned weird sounds that her baby was making. Maybe there will be more other things that will pile up and finally make him recognize that there is a pattern. I do think that he or just Nighthawks in general gonna figure it out. That's what's gonna lead them to the pregnant lady giving birth to that monster. Actually, I don't remember if there was anyone else present during the doomsday with that lady. I think it was just Klein, so he might be the only one who's gonna figure it all out and track her down. But yeah, it was a pretty sad episode because of Old Neil and him having to shoot his last remaining friend. And now everyone he cared about is basically gone. Of course, he still has Nighthawks and they're kind of a little family, but I don't think it's quite the same. All those important people to him that he shared his life with, gone, including his wife. And I don't know how she died exactly. I wonder if there's more to her death. It is pretty tragic to think that it might be like inevitable conclusion to be in a Beyonder what happened to that guy just this notion of beyond or sooner or later going out of control, and beyond salvation, just reaching that point of no return, turning into a monster. Kind of reminds me of cyber psychosis in Cyberpunk Edge Runners. The more you like replace parts of yourself with the machine, the more you just go crazy with it. I assume this works in similar fashion. The more you advance through the pathway, the more you use your powers or something like that, the more you get out of control. But honestly, if that's the case, it kind of implies that you can't really reach the divinity, can't go to all the way to sequence 1 or 0, if 0 is a thing. Or maybe if you get far at some point, you actually become better at controlling things. Maybe actually the lower sequences, or should I say higher, the weaker sequences actually pose a bigger threat. Maybe just being exposed to different supernatural things can lead to losing control like that. It's definitely interesting and tragic. That is not something that I realized or contemplated, that it's almost inevitable or is inevitable. It's almost like fate. Klein definitely needs to escape back to his original world before that happens to him. But I don't want anyone else from Nighthawks to suffer that fate. But old Neil is old. Yeah, and it hasn't happened to him. But I wonder if it's because he basically retired. So maybe it is like advancing through the sequences or using your powers a lot. So he avoided that fate by kind of stepping out of it all. Yeah, I'm worried for Dawn, for Leonard. They're great. I really like their characters. Also, on a lighter note, Klein was pretty funny this episode. He was acting so silly. He was so like smug and happy, and just like he could barely contain his excitement and his triumph when he realized that his plan with Mr. Isaac worked out and he could get to the sun emblem. It was so funny. And if only Leonard wasn't so obsessed with himself, as I mentioned, I feel like he would have figured that Klein was after the emblem, or that he was after something and possibly even involved in the whole situation, because of those openly like snickering faces Klein was making. It was just so suspicious, and Leonard was totally watching him, but for all the wrong reasons. He of course made it all about himself, but shouldn't have. But then by the end of it, he and his shadow were actually kind of like side-eyeing the door, and behind it was Klein with the emblem. So I feel like Leonard is now suspicious and wonders if Klein did something with it, and maybe that strange sun behavior was related to whatever he did. I think he at least made some mental note. So if he ever sees Klein doing some weird stuff with a sun charm, he would definitely connect the dots. He might actually try to like figure things out, or even question him about it even sooner. I don't know. What is up with his shadow? Like, that is probably the secret he was referring to, the one that he claimed that Klein was trying to uncover. And I wonder if the shadow actually became suspicious of Klein before Leonard did. Maybe it is like its own entity and they somehow communicate. I don't know. Whew, really interesting episode. I really enjoyed it. I don't think anything huge happened in it related to the main plot necessarily. Of course, the pregnant lady was part of it, so it is related to the main plot. And the acquiring power of a sun emblem, putting into the charms, definitely gonna come in handy. I wonder if Klein actually used those during the Doomsday. I don't remember if they were in that scene in the first episode. Regardless, they will definitely come in handy. Apart from that, I think the episode largely concentrated on the personal story of old Neil and his friend, as well as just silly humor and Klein and Mr. Isaac conspiring with each other, and it definitely worked for me. With anime, which is of course Japanese, I typically don't enjoy quirky anime humor. Sometimes I do, like I like Dan to Dan and it's pretty humorous, but usually all those jokes in anime just fall flat for me and they don't work for me at all, and it just cringes me out, especially if it's meant to be like a serious anime overall. Then suddenly there is this cringe silliness happening and just takes me out. But in case of this show, I don't know if it's Chinese humor that works for me or it's just like universal humor. It felt Western to me. The whole setting is Western, the characters seem Western, and the humor seemed Western too. And it worked for me. It wasn't like, oh, this is hilarious, but it was just like silly and amusing and natural. It was part of those characters and part of the scene they created, and it just worked. It worked for them, it worked for the moment, and somehow it really worked combined with all the tragic stuff that followed later. Just a really good balance of lighthearted and heavy material. I think I'm gonna brainstorm and analyze everything more while I rewatch and add new information I learned to my chart, and then probably I will have another extended discussion of this episode before the next one, like in this reaction. We'll see. For now, this is it. This is my first initial thoughts right after watching. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode and I hope that you enjoyed this reaction. If you did, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe leave a comment. Thank you for watching, but for now, bye!